You've heard of liminal spaces, haven't you? These nondescript, uncanny places that feel equal parts familiar and nostalgic, while simultaneously seeming alienating and off-putting. Many equate the concept of liminal spaces to clipping out of bounds in a video game and landing in an unfinished portion of a level. Knowing this is somewhere you probably shouldn't be, and also knowing that there might not be a way back in bounds. So you've heard of liminal spaces, but what about liminal operating systems? That might sound like a bit of a meme, but I guarantee you that there are some truly uncanny OSs out there, and we'll go over them shortly. But first, a word from the sponsor of today's video, Into the AM. Now it's cold up here in the Northeast this time of year, and that's where clothes come in handy. You know clothes, right? They protect you from the elements and help set you apart from the people around you, assuming there are people around you right now. Clothes let you express yourself, and what better way to express yourself than by buying a shirt using my link below. Into the AM has premium graphic tees with what I think is fair to call striking designs. I'm wearing one right now, and I have a few others too. This is quite a nice design. I actually really like this design. And we also have this design. Both of these are astronauts. I really like that design as well. Right now you can get these elevated everyday graphics tees with 10% off site-wide using my link below. Into the AM is also running a bundle deal that gives you an additional 10% off. 3 graphic tees for $60 or 3 basic tees for $45. So if you want to stay warm, get some cool shirts, save money, and help support this show, check out my link below. And thank you to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. ReactOS. ReactOS is an operating system out of time. It looks like a holdover from the early days of Windows NT, where Microsoft's approach to user interface design was simple skeuomorphisms of buttons for everything. So it should be no surprise that ReactOS is a free and open source re-implementation of the Windows NT kernel and associated Windows APIs. It's been in development since 1998, and its most recent release is version 0.4.13 alpha. It's possible to run many Windows applications on ReactOS, and even install hardware drivers, with the goal being to create a fully free and open source binary compatible alternative to Windows. And that's a commendable goal. But probably because of that, there's something about ReactOS that just makes it feel uncanny. Windows is the desktop OS that spies on you after all, and it can't be trusted. So between the OS providing an incomplete Windows experience, the practically antique yet appealing design of the UI, and the free nature of the system, ReactOS is the first liminal operating system on this list, and I think fittingly so. Hannah Montana Linux. Billed by its creator as a way to, quote, attract young users to Linux, Hannah Montana's cloying, saccharine pink and purple design feels cynical at best and sinister at worst. Created in 2009 at the height of the Disney Channel original series Hannah Montana, a show about a teenage girl living a double life, this now ancient Linux distro aimed at preteens is woefully out of date and criminally out of touch. And while the OS itself is off-putting on its own, with the cringeworthy theme and bizarrely composed background featuring a preteen Miley Cyrus and Tux the Penguin on a cloudy fuchsia background, the official website for Hannah Montana Linux might be the even more disturbing missing piece of this puzzle. Its design, even when it was new, felt like a GeoCities homepage from 1998, but I can't tell what's worse, the fact that it's hosted on SourceForge, of all places, or the stilted lyrics to a song about Linux presented without any hint of meter or melody. Roku. Roku is a streaming box that you connect to your TV, which allows you to stream audio and video content for any number of online services. From your favorite YouTubers to Netflix and any number of other imitators, Roku is the streaming box for the everyman. It's not meant to be anything flashy or even performant, and while it is by no means the most disturbing, quote, smart TV OS, we'll get to that in a second, it certainly is a contender. From its default purple background that hasn't been meaningfully changed since Roku version 1.0, to the unapologetically simple design, to the fact that the OS is spying on your media consumption preferences and serving you with custom-tailored ads. It's all just a little too unnerving. There's something very strange about the way Roku devices feel, and I can't really put my finger on it. Almost as if a Roku device were the same as visiting a dying shopping mall. Put simply, Roku remotes prominently feature buttons for now defunct services. It's akin to seeing decaying neon signs atop darkened, vacant storefronts gated off from public entrance. These entryways living as a physical testament to unchecked consumerist culture of the late 80s and early 90s. And I can't think of a better definition of a liminal space. Windows Millennium Edition. There are few releases of Windows more superfluous or maligned than Windows Millennium Edition. Built on top of the Windows 9X series of operating systems, Windows ME stripped out many of the useful features that made its predecessors so appealing. Things like Real Mode DOS, for example. Meanwhile, as they're stripping out features, Microsoft was also backporting features from their NT operating systems. Things like Windows Movie Maker and System Recovery, features that simply did not belong in the 9X world. However, the most unnerving part of Windows ME was the surreal 90s era skins for Windows Media Player and the OS's obsession with using WMA and WMV media formats. But they quickly learned that Windows ME was a failed experiment, and they unceremoniously discontinued the OS with the shortest lifespan for support of any Windows release, lasting merely 3 years. Red Star OS. The official Linux distribution of North Korea, Red Star OS officially started development in 1998 at the Korea Computing Institute, its most recent version, 4.0, being released in January of 2019. It uses KDE 3 as its desktop and comes fully localized in Korean, using North Korean spelling and terminology. Red Star also behaves in rather unsettling ways, reflecting the North Korean government's totalitarian ambitions of running a panopticon into the private lives of every North Korean citizen. From offering a modified version of Firefox, which provides its users with access to the national intranet of the North Korean regime, to a system daemon which watermarks all files on detachable storage, so that the government can track illegal underground markets of foreign films and other media. Red Star OS is a fascinating and disturbing look into the closed-off and isolated world of North Korea. The fact that it utilizes such an outdated release of KDE is uncanny in and of itself, but then knowing that the OS modifies all your files without your consent, that's pretty scary. Samsung Smart TV OS. There are few operating systems in this world that qualify as liminal quite as strongly as Samsung's Smart TV OS. Taking cues from virtually every other operating system's user interface, Samsung's Smart TV OS is a mashup of paradigms that strongly resemble that of a PlayStation 4 mixed with Android TV. And while that might seem like it would make for an, at worst, middle-of-the-road experience, the amateurish execution results in a user interface that, at a glance, appears inoffensive, but ultimately leaves the user lost, confused, and angry. Samsung's offering here is as liminal as a UI can get, with familiar elements that are combined in a way that make little sense and hold up to no intelligent scrutiny. Samsung's Smart TV OS is akin to the ambiguous dreamlike ramblings of AI art, where you provide a sentence like Bob Ross painting an American football game, and the AI returns this. In fact, that's how I assume Samsung's nonsensical Smart TV OS was designed, by some non-human artificial intelligence that is incapable of grasping concepts beyond a surface level. Temple OS. Temple OS was created by a man with unmanaged schizophrenia. I am in no way making light of its creator, nor am I trying to mock his mental illness by including this here. The fact is that Temple OS, even when divorced from the story of its creator, has all the hallmarks of a liminal operating system. The bizarrely flashing elements, the incessantly scrolling marquees, the garish color palette, the lack of networking capabilities, and the included software demos, including games with unparsable rules. The fact is, this was obviously an enormous amount of work, and the results are both impressive and unnerving. Temple OS feels as though you've stumbled upon an elaborate tableau of twisted steel deep in the dark, lonesome woods, obviously crafted by human hands, but for what arcane purpose you're unable to discern. Where did all this steel come from? Who built it? And most chillingly, why? If you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that like button. If we can get to 5,000 likes, my team and I will come up with more stuff like this. Don't forget to subscribe either way to stay up to date with all the stuff we're doing here on the channel. We have massive plans for 2022 and I can't wait to share them with you. Thank you for watching, and I want to extend a special thank you to my friends on Patreon as well as my YouTube members who make what I do here a reality. I truly wouldn't be able to do this show if it weren't for my patrons and my members. So thank you. If you believe in the work that I'm doing and you want to join up on the Linux warpath with me and help this show grow, use the links below to pledge your monthly support. That's going to do it for now though. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one.